Alright, check it out now, you heard? Let's go over a few little details right here. You know what I'm saying? Pick up a couple of details laying around. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to miss nothing right now. Got a lot going on. Everybody does. Eclipse season coming through. Shaking things up a little bit. You know what I mean? So let's look at this Aries Libra axis where we have Chiron and Mars expressing a weekend, midweek next week, okay, of opposition. The intensity is building up, okay? It's what I'm letting you know. So for another week, we have intensity building up. Let me describe it to you, you know what I'm saying? So you could get busy on your chart, look into that, you know, unpack it, analyze it, and make peace. You heard? All right, let's look at this. Now, first of all, take into consideration Aries house issues. All right? When I say Aries house issues, what I mean is, if you look at your natal chart where you have Aries, okay, what house is that for you? All right. Now, what house issues, subject matters comes along with that? All right? That's where we find what the focus is that particular sign, planet, or impulse is expressing through. All right? When it comes to Aries, it does have a lot to do with your identity, your first house descriptive details, and what it is you assert about yourself that defines who you are time and time again. It is where you prefer to ask forgiveness instead of asking permission. Know that. This is the tip of your knife, where at all times you could feel like I need to be in good condition right here, no matter what. All right? This is the talons of the eagle, the fang of the wolf. You know? How can they hunt without it? So, Chiron and Aries, you got a little boo-boo on your identity. Something got you feeling like you're not in the shape that you want to be. You're not in a condition, the status that you want to be. And if you look at your first house, that's the status that you want to feel through that energy. That's the expression that you want to feel through asserting that Aries energy at that particular house that Aries occupies for you. Understand? So right now there's a feeling of, I want to, but I'm not in shape to do it. I don't feel confident. I don't feel sure. I don't feel certain. I don't have what I need. I'm lacking. You know, I'm caught lacking. And this could be that opportunity is presenting itself around you. You're homing in on the fact that opportunity is starting to rear its head, but you feel inside of yourself, damn, I'm not even prepared. I'm not even ready. I can't do this. I can't do that. What about this? Or what about that? You know? You caught with your pants down. You heard? So, in opposition, to that is Mars in Libra. Now, let me go on to add the fact that Ceres is in retrograde. Ceres is in retrograde. Chiron is also in retrograde. So, this says a lot. It really says a lot. Because what Ceres is asking in the review is, am I caring for myself? Do I have what I need? Am I nurturing the source of my strength? Am I nurturing that which makes me most effective? Am I attentive to what I need to define my identity? Am I lacking any resources or resourcefulness to manifest this innate desire in me to express myself through this house? Am I facilitating that expression? What do I need to continue doing so, to regulate self-care, to be in good shape? What do I need to get in good shape right here? What this also asks is, what do I need to feel more independent in this expression? Independent. You already lost if you're not following where you have Aries in your natal chart. All right? Stay with me. Chiron, the wounded healer, it's really testing your insight around insecurities that are there. The retrograde brings you back down memory lane of things that in the past you really wanted to do, you wanted to be a part of, you wanted to initiate in your life, but because of lack and inadequacy, you buried yourself in escapism instead. Distractions, other preoccupations. You lie to yourself a little bit and tell you that it's not what you wanted to do anyway. You know, same old story. Come on. So what Mars does in Libra, Mars is addressing, exposing, pointing out any points of integrity that involves imbalances, lack of harmony, injustice, anything that is not level and square in your life. Where are we losing opportunity? Where are we losing efficiency? What are the details in my life that doesn't allow me to live harmonious in my identity? Aries Chiron. This opposition is highlighting a particular issue that has just surfaced in hindsight, or the matter has come to a head, or you perceive that it is coming to a head. We're at this Libra placement, okay? The context is in the house, all All right? Where do you have Libra? What house? That's the context. So there's an issue that came up here in Libra that is intensifying. It's building up pressure. It's building up anxiety in your life. And it's exposing that Chiron retrograde review. It's also exposing that Ceres Aries retrograde review. It's also exposing that Neptune Aries review. It's exposing all of these things. The exposure is so that our awareness can expand in ourself concerning these details. And at Aries, that Ceres says, in reply to Libra Mars opposition, it says, were it not for, okay? Look at that. Were it not for, you see, were it not for this imbalance in my Libra house expression and what's going on there in Libra, were it not for this imbalance, for this lack of harmony that's manifesting, I would be able to further and make complete my ideal of self-care, self-sufficiency. But this issue is stopping me from being able to give myself the care that I really need, the comfortability that I really need in my authentic identity, in who I am. I can't feel like I am who I know I am until this issue is resolved, this imbalance, until this matter is harmonized. Libra Mars. It's building up pressure because it's coming to exact opposition. It's building up. The good news is that once it gets on the other side of exact opposition, we know that we are in solution mode. Right now, it's building up to the intensity of something has to give. The scale is tipping, tipping, tipping in Libra. What is that matter? What is that issue that you have? Say it to yourself. Don't say it to me. I'm not here to, get everybody's business out. But what is that issue at the Libra placement for you, according to the house that Libra Mars is transiting, that point in position? What is the theme that has surfaced that your awareness is being expanded on by Mars, pointing something out to you, something that has to be addressed, something that has to be healed, something that has to be corrected, aligned, balanced, harmonized, something ugly that has to be made beautiful. Viscosity, oil in the joints, friction points, okay? What is that issue? That is the were it not for issue, okay? That's the issue that is causing inflammation to Chiron and Ceres at Aries. It's expanding your awareness of the value of the solution. Okay, you see how I back that in? It's expanding your awareness of the value of said solution. Okay, so because you're experiencing the discomfort, the sense of inadequacy, the realization that if I don't solve this issue, my self-care is incomplete. I'm not going to be able to take care of myself if I don't fix this issue. Series. So this Mars opposition in Libra, it's drawing your attention to an unresolved matter that is building up intensity and frustration, tipping the scales, so that you can address it. And on the other side of it is appreciation for whatever solution it is that you will instill through the power of Mars. You are going to solve the problem. You're going to fix the issue. That's what I'm assuring you right now. You're going to fix the problem. When you do, you're going to value it enough not to ever lose it, not to ever tip the scale, not to ever lose sight of cherishing and valuing what it took to balance that scale or harmonize that issue or beautify that ugly. In Libra, you're going to cherish it because it's now realized how important this detail is to your destiny. The end result that you are desiring from fixing or addressing this Libra Mars issue is understood at the Leo Venus expression. At Leo Venus expression, that is the status that you are looking for of your image through this solution. It's the status of your image, your public image, your family image, your relationship image, whatever context that it carries unique to your natal birth chart. Venus in Leo, that is what you desire to take pride in. Is what you desire to take pride in. It is where you prefer to show up as someone who's in position to restore and awaken the confidence in those you love. You want to be a source of confidence and light for others. You want to be a source of inspiration and care. You want to be in position to be full of generosity from this position. That is where you have Leo, the house that you have Leo. That contextual situation is where you want to shine with the light of love, care, and a sense of pride. A sense of pride concerning the influence that you have. You know that in solving this Libra issue, you would be more influential. You would be more magnetic. Your Aries expression would be justified. Now, what solves the issue of Mars in Libra? What solves it? What's going to solve the issue in Libra Mars transit in opposition to Chiron series Aries, okay? Or I said that backwards. It is what we have going on at the Virgo and Pisces axis. The Virgo and Pisces axis, that is the solution to the problem that's presenting itself in opposition between Chiron and Mars. So this Chiron-Mars issue, it is dependent upon our success and alignment at Virgo-Pisces axis. We just had the eclipse at Pisces. which means that an ongoing cycle of escapism, entertaining fear, distractions, addictions, lack of boundaries, carelessness, delusions. We realized that we had to be accountable with ourselves and say, no more of this. I can't do this to myself anymore. I can't let my life just spiral out of control this way, because of a misperception between spiritual reality and the dense reality of everyday life. No, they are not separate. They are one and the same. So I must be present and not escape. So the problems built up at your house issues where you have Pisces, okay? Your Pisces house issues have built up and it's whooping your behind, and you realize it's time to close that chapter of those particular habits and patterns that have been causing the irritation behind Chiron in series, the sense of lack behind Chiron in series, the sense of inadequacy behind Chiron in series. It's been causing that because of the escapism in Pisces. We're not showing up to put work and dedication, responsibility, accountability, attention to detail, transparency with the self, implementing efficiency and refinement for the self, and it results with this Aries Chiron irritation to be inflamed and start swelling and get infected. And the pain gets worse. We're realizing that. So the full moon is closing our interest in continuing that cycle anymore. So that is in the works. Very significant events, timely events are going to manifest through fated opportunity to help us to close that pattern. Now, in the opposite end here with Virgo, we know that we're working up to a second new moon or eclipse at the 29th degree Virgo. And when we're at an analytic degree of Virgo, it's an emergency. This is an opening, however, a new beginning, which means that I can't waste time anymore. I can't procrastinate. I can't pretend like I'm not empowered to do something about this. I no longer can sit around twiddling my fingers and wasting opportunity and talent. The lack of putting my best foot forward, not taking control of my life entirely, standing responsible for it. I have got to implement and make system of regulate full responsibility into my life that addresses any insecurities or fears that I should have. This is to meet these fears, inadequacies, and insecurities with a work ethic that challenges its threats. You see how that works. Mind you, before this takes place, we've had a fog that's been building up over the past 3 days as Mercury comes into the orb of the sun, combust. Okay, so for the past 3 days, the fog has been building up, about this issue that has to be addressed. Now, the issue can't be addressed in Libra until the issue is addressed in Virgo. The reality of what is being magnetically attracted into ourselves as what we want to feel, as what we desire to see of ourselves through Leo, that rests upon all of this to be in good shape. So Virgo is the process that addresses the condition of Libra Mars that's building up to intensity in opposition with Chiron, that's bringing threat to the status of our identity as the natural person, having us to feel like if I don't do this, I don't get to be who I know I am. I have to pull this off if I'm going to stand in that status that I know I'm supposed to. This is where you fight for that promised land. You are more than able. There are giants in the land. You fight for the promised land. This Kazemi that Mercury is building up to, it first has to pass through what is combust, okay? A combust. So when Mercury gets within the close orb of the sun, the intensity of the sun's rays, it blinds the connection and perception of Mercury. And the blindness coming from the rays of the sun can indicate being blinded by our own ego, being blinded by our own sense of entitlement, being blinded by our pride. Understand? And so when Mercury gets past that combust, the clarity comes in. But before then, the combust has to show us the cloudiness of judgment, the inability to home in on a clear picture from the cognitive mind. So you're in a foggy and confused state. And what also adds into that is the fact that Neptune is still at Aries, which is I'm unable to detect a clear and certain picture of who I am, what I'm doing. My mind keeps drifting. I can't see the edges. I can't see the outline. And that is because Saturn has motion to separate from Neptune. It is Saturn that grounds that image to the earth in order for us to see an image in Neptune. But as Saturn breaks away from Neptune, it becomes foggy again. It's the outline of a neon light. So there's fogginess right now with the vision and the perception, cognitive perception. There is fogginess. Fogginess about Virgo. What do I do? What is the process? What are the steps? What needs to go? How can I make this more efficient? What I got going on? Finances also comes into this because it's Virgo. You're counting your pennies. And you're looking at the situation like, I don't know where this money's coming from. I don't know where these resources are coming from. So you're realizing you have to work some magic. This is especially building up to the last degrees of Virgo. This is like, hold up. Do I still got the receipt to all that ridiculous stuff I just purchased? What type of habits do I got going on here? How much money do I spend every week on this or on that? What can I cut back on? How can I create some efficiency? How can I drop some weight in this situation? Because I have to resolve this issue and I do not have a long time. I got to resolve and I got to resolve it now. Mars is demanding a reaction. And the closer he gets to a perfect opposition, he's demanding it more and more that you react, that you respond, that you get on it. But there's fogginess. So the clarity comes when Mercury cazimis with the sun, which is, in fact, which is on the 12th. Okay? So this Friday the 12th, cazimi, that's when the clarity begins to download. We had this fog because of the cazimi, but the clarity is now going to start coming in, and that clarity is to home in on or realize, recognize, okay, cognitive, to recognize, recognize what is the process or procedure to address the pertinent issue of Libra Mars in order to soothe the pain, inadequacy, and disharmony, discomfort concerning what expresses my identity, Chiron series. What do I need to do to facilitate or provide what is missing so that I can feel fully expressed, consistent with Leo Venus expression in this transit? That's giving me the feedback of letting me know where in life I am desirable and where in life I desire to be, where in life I am celebrated. And the only way I could show up is if I resolve these issues in full confidence. So I go on to say, Vesta at this time is already in Sagittarius, making the beginning. With Vesta in Sagittarius, our spiritual devotion is now in expansiveness, growth, taking risks, taking chances, acting on what has been visualized, responding to, standing up for every ounce of passion within us. The active side of ourself is now starting to open its eyes. The stellium of Scorpio, where we concentrated a long, focused isolation to transmute and transform through shadow work in the wilderness, incorporation of the shadows into the authentic expression of the self, which was part of the crisis of escapism through the North Node Pisces. We learn to incorporate and recover our responsibility and full identity in the full spectrum of the axis of Pisces and Virgo, not separating one from the other, calling one spirituality and one is not. No, everything that you do in your life is part of your spiritual expression. Everything. Not some things. Everything. Sagittarius is significant because this is the energy we put on after resurrecting, after coming alive, after passing through the death card, the rising phoenix. This is where life feels like we're living again. And we're connecting to that. This is a checkpoint that reconnects us to a sense of being alive again. After feeling dormant, isolated, damn near dead since the Cancer Mars retrograde. So anyway, keep in mind that Pluto is out of bounds. It's unpredictable. With transformational, deeply psychological experiences that Pluto will manifest. Know that. But take these details and I want you to go over what you got going on in your life. See how you can make the best sense of it. And what I want to do is I wanted to encourage you all not to be afraid, not to be nervous, not to have anxiety, but to simply trust the process and focus. Trust the timeline. As I just explained to you, you're in the right place. You're doing the right things. There are many components in operation at the same time, working toward the same goal and mission over your life. And we just have to show up for it, be present, and participate in whatever it requires of us. But it's a process. Nothing's being done to you, it's being done for you. Now, consider this detail. Stay healthy. Stay healthy. Wherever you have Virgo in your natal birth chart and your 6th house circumstances, conditions, this is a time where you want to fortify yourself against illnesses, especially through what you eat. Virgo ruling the intestinal tract or process, especially through what you eat. Sterilization, cleanliness, understand, take good care of your health. Eat right, sleep enough, exercise. Now, to go along with this, these Virgo eclipse, there's direct effect or impact on the health or status of that house condition that you have Virgo in. And we're expected to do what is necessary to place it in a status of vitality. Mind you, in a public sense, this can bring back themes, stories, headlines, incidents of public outbreaks, health concerns, disease, food poisoning, things of that nature. So this is a time where you want to do your due diligence to avoid putting yourself in circumstances that increases the probability of food poisoning or being subject to contagions and, germy areas. You going out, you touching doorknobs and handles and, close proximation with people. Bring your Lysol, your personal Lysol spray, the little one, the little can. You know what I'm saying? Bring your hand sanitizer, wash your hands, pay attention to who's doing what. Wash your food, you know what I mean? All these different details, just decrease the probabilities here of sickness and health matters. Sickness and health. Now, I'll close with this. Virgo is to be incorporated into the life as part of our spiritual expression and practice. The grounded nature, the realistic realism nature of Virgo works in harmony concerning our temptation to escape into the dream world of Pisces. And I'm going to say it like this. Behind us and in front of us are two different stories. Behind us, spirituality used to be represented by, since the Obama era, spirituality and consciousness has had a strong representation by liberal-minded females trading sex work for consciousness. Sex work for consciousness. This has been the ongoing trend. And that trend started especially with African American females who took to the internet during the Dr. Umar Johnson Hidden Colors premiere. I watched it, and everything turned into see through this, see through that, cleavage, sex, sex, sex in the air. Meanwhile, while I'm at it, I might as well shuffle some tarot cards, show you my crystals, and all of my yoga poses. I mean, it's like watching Pornhub. This is how the so-called conscious community got its bad reputation with black folks. Niggas being niggas. Niggas being niggas. I watched it. And this is where the dumbing down came from. This is where the escapism came from. Spirituality became something to escape into, not something to apply or practice effectively into the life, to incorporate into the life. Because overall, what we see as a continuing theme, especially with the American female who has lacked true enlightenment and revolution in her life, under the illusion that feminism is what gives her that, and it gives her the exact opposite, she finds herself justifying self-sabotage, self-infliction, and self-destruction. That's the end game of it. I'm not going to lay it on heavy with that topic because I know how sensitive people are out there about it. But what I will say is I know where that trend started of thinking that spirituality is a talk about where you astral travel. I went to this planet, I went to this star system, and I went upside down and I chased this little purple monster, and then I came out and went to Nibiru, and some aliens came out and spoke my name and yada. All this shit. It's beauty, it's artful, it is of the realm of wonders. And there is meaning in it. There is value in those esoteric symbols that you should contemplate, that you should study, that you should internalize. But where the problem comes in at is glorification of such vanities and distractions, making it the basis and the all in all of one's spiritual enlightenment, teachings, influence, and claims of spiritual status, so on and so forth. But somehow it never translates into your everyday life. Your character at work, your character between you and your children, your character between you and your spouse, the condition and status of your relationships throughout your life, your finances, your health. All throughout, these are all spiritual expressions of your life. Every one of the 12 houses, every one of the 12 signs are spiritual realities. But this emphasis on the Star Wars, the space trips, Anunnaki conspiracy, none of this shit helps you when it comes to salvation, and I do not mean that in a Christian sense. The healing of your soul, the healing of your relationships, having the ability to finally say sorry when it's say I apologize when it's time to apologize, to say I forgive you when it's time to forgive, to heal, to make initiative to actually heal relationships, to get down to the bottom of where the source of our generational curses and emotional turmoil is coming from, and how to confront it and heal it, how to maintain peace with persons who are difficult to navigate, so on. It's the little things that we have placed as inferior to the experiences, leverage, power, and authority of your space trip last night in astral body, that can never trump your ability to find humility when you need to give yourself humility, to get out of your way. That can never trump the ability to be accountable when it's time to be accountable, to remember the moral compass when hard decisions have to be made. It's the little things, to greet someone with a smile, even though you might not feel like it, to say excuse me and thank you, to share your food or drink, to listen to your intuition and not betray it for your lust. We're worried about all of these fancy things that we want people to see us as special, unique, or different based on our witnessings and spiritual interactions with the Piscean world, of lifting out of our bodies, and we go to this planet and that planet and that planet, but you don't know how to apologize when you know you wronged somebody. You don't know how to return a book that you borrowed from somebody. You don't know how to look at your neighbor and say, hi, good morning. Your child is a juvenile delinquent terrorizing the whole community. You are working on your third baby daddy. We have our priorities totally backwards. And we are majoring in the minors. You got your crystals, your yoga pants, your tarot cards, the starter pack for I'm enlightened and I'm woke with a head wrap on, and you think this is spirituality. Without people, there is no spirituality. because it's only people that give you a mirror to look into to see how you're progressing, or rather or not there's a witnessing of your spiritual claim and walk. It's the outcome that you have with others. It's the feedback that you get from others. It's the condition, circumstance, and status of the relationships in your life across the board. It's your ability to command quiet of mind, peace of mind when you need it. To get out of the way of your own ego when it's in your best interest. To refrain from putting yourself in harmful or regretful circumstances, situations, regardless of how charged your sexual impulses are. These are the things that are greater than your stories about how you lifted out of your body and traveled to Nibiru and came back with a space alien. And some stardust. Fake spirituality is not going to make it. It's escapism. It's fraudulent. It's a distraction. It is empty calories. It tastes good. It is flavorful, but it does not nurture the soul or body. It smells great, but it's not real food. It's time to get real in your spirituality and stop bullshit. Make it make sense in all of your life. All of your life. Running away with your eyes closed from the whole world around you that reflects back to you your spiritual awareness or not, but instead there's this preference to escape into the abstract theories, dream state, and illusions of Neptune and Pisces. Not anymore. Not anymore. Schedule for your natal birth chart reading. Get the personal details on all of these transits that we just went over with concerning Mars in opposition to Chiron, as well as the eclipse season. Details throughout the eclipse season. Schedule for your natal birth chart reading. Understand. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you for being supportive. Always happy that you're here, you heard?